How many slides is this, by the way?
You've gone through 7.
We've gone through like
Okay, I'd like to get to about 25, so we only have about 8 left for Monday. Okay, so turning the tide against the Axis powers, and that's eventually what Germany, Italy, and Japan are called, the Axis powers.
Was Britain daytime bombing before we joined the war, or was it only after?
I have no idea. Don't know.
What does Axis stand for in this case?
I don't even know. I'm not sure.
They just called them that?
Yep. Okay, December of 1941, the Axis are on the offensive. They're taking ground. 1942, 1943, the U.S., England, Russia fought to seize the initiative, meaning, first of all, you have to stop the advance of the enemy before you can start your own advance. Okay? And we did that in the Pacific. The Soviets did that in Russia, and we did it in North Africa. Okay? 1944 and 45, offensive to crush the Axis powers. Okay, I'll go over some of those battles at the end if we don't come back to them. I can't remember if I get into some of them or not. Okay, there's a lot of important things that happened strategically with the invasion of the Soviet Union and things like that I want to go over. All right, U.S.-English alliance cemented by personal friendship between FDR and Churchill. FDR and Churchill have one of the most famous and beneficial friendships of any two leaders I can think of in the 20th century.
Was Stalin with them, or no, not really?
He was left out. They were the big three, but it was definitely Churchill and FDR and Stalin.
Because I see lots of pictures with all of them seen together.
Right. Soviet Union is very unsatisfied with the alliance. Soviet Union often perceives itself alone in the conflict. Why might the Soviet Union perceive themselves as alone in the conflict?
We didn't trade with
they're on
them.
No, we traded with them. We gave them tons of stuff.
Yeah.
they're on the east side of Europe, and we are more. Well, we're coming from the west side. So
Well, they've been fighting Germany since like halfway through 1941, and
Right.
they haven't fought until like 1944.
But the deal is, the biggest battles in the war are going on in Russia, between Germany and the Soviet Union. Stalin wanted us to open a second front, meaning open up another battle zone in Europe to take pressure off the Russians. Okay? We don't do that till 1944. So they alone are fighting the Germans in Europe. Even though we're fighting in North Africa and Italy, it's not near the numbers that are fighting in the Russian front. Wartime tensions persist after the victory. In fact, the start of the Cold War, which happens after World War II, really is starting right now between the Soviet Union and the U.S. The war would end with two superpowers, us and the Soviet Union. All right, halting the German Blitz. November of 1942, U.S. invaded North Africa, along with the other Allied countries. May of 1943, U.S. and England invade Italy. Now, North Africa, major battles there. The Battle of El Alamein is where we stop the German advance, start our advance. Okay, El Alamein is an important victory, not only that it strategically helped, but moral victory in that something positive has happened. Also, the invasions of Italy and the battles in North Africa give the U.S. troops important battle readiness and toughness and experience to help them with their future D-Day landings in the true large invasion of Europe. Okay? Mussolini falls from power right away, but Hitler not willing to give up
Mussolini
Italy.
was assassinated, right?
He is strung up and hung, his entire family,
Picture of that.
by the Italians. Yeah, there's a famous picture of that. Slow advance, though, in Italy, because Hitler does not give up Italy when Mussolini is taken from power. Hitler sends German troops. So it takes almost a full year before we take Rome. Summer of 1943, the Battle of Stalingrad. One of the largest and most important battles in world history is the Battle of Stalingrad. Germany has invaded the Soviet Union. They've gotten a long ways in immediately after the invasion. Hitler's main goal for invading the Soviet Union, especially the southern end of Russia, is to gain the oil reserves in the Caucasus Mountains. On the way there, he meets some resistance in Stalingrad. Well, Hitler doesn't. His commanding general does. So he decides to defeat the Russians at Stalingrad. Now, many people think he could have just bypassed Stalingrad and went straight through. He didn't. Okay, at first, the Battle of Stalingrad is going very much for the Germans. They surround the city. The Russians are backed up to the Volga River. They have nothing left. Okay? But in the fall and winter of 43, 44, the Germans fight back and win probably one of the more amazing victories in war history. Russia fights back and wins one of the more amazing victories in wartime history. Okay? 300,000 Germans are taken captive at the end. They're starving, freezing. Hitler wouldn't even send winter gear with because he wanted to convince them to win before winter set in. Okay? Russia advances then into Eastern Europe. Part of what's going on here as well is Russia doesn't have to worry about Japan attacking them, so they're able to take tens of thousands of troops from Siberia and Eastern Russia and bring them to the front in Stalingrad.
Why wouldn't they worry about Japan?
Because I think they'd signed an agreement with Japan that they wouldn't attack each other. From this point onward, Russia is moving forward against the Germans. Okay? So, El Alamein in North Africa, Stalingrad in Russia are the two most important early victories in the European theater. Okay, moving on to Japan. Two-pronged drive against Japan. Douglas MacArthur led the drive through New Guinea to the Philippines. Douglas MacArthur is the army leader. Okay, troops on the ground. He is the guy in the Philippines when after Pearl Harbor, Americans lose a bunch of battles, not battles, but are ousted from a lot of territories. The Philippines being the most important one. MacArthur left the Philippines and said, "I shall return," which he eventually does 2-3 years later.
Was he the one that got out of the Doolittle bombing, right?
No, but that's a naval Air Force issue. Okay. Chester Nimitz led the Navy westward from Pearl Harbor to the Philippines, and they oftentimes aided each other. But there was a real competitiveness between the Nimitz group and MacArthur. The Nimitz group also includes Halsey, who is the main leader, oftentimes on board the ships. Okay, and what's the most important ship we have at this time?
The carriers.
Okay, the carriers, aircraft carriers. First time they're ever used in war is World War II. Us and Japan have the most important sea battles. June of 1942, victory at Midway launches our advance into Japanese-held territories. Okay, we win at Midway, and Midway is aptly named. It's midway between the Hawaiian Islands and the other Pacific Islands. If the Japanese take Midway, they have air bases they can launch attacks in Hawaii. Okay, we win at Midway because we were able to break the Japanese code. We knew they were coming, and one of the first major aircraft carrier battles, is Midway. In fact, most sea battles from Midway onward are fought without enemies seeing each other from the ships. It's sending your planes and dropping torpedoes and bombs. Right? The goal is to sink their aircraft carriers and things like that. Okay, here is one of the most important maps you're going to look at. I would tell you to memorize it, but some of the important points. Remember I said there was one part of the United States that was invaded and taken over? It's right here. There's Attu Island right there. There's the Aleutian Islands. Alaska's right over here. Hawaii is here. Midway is here. Okay. Now you can see another important battle is the Battle of Coral Sea.
Yeah, that's the one.
Stops the Japanese short of Australia. Leyte Gulf is the battle that we retake the Philippines. Pretty much crushes the Japanese Navy. Japanese made some major mistakes at the Battle of Leyte Gulf in October of 1944, which basically spelled the end of the war for them.
Is Australia independent right now?
No, Australia's helping us out.
No, are they independent? Like, are they?
Yeah.
They are?
Yep.
When they become their own nation?
Well, okay, Australia and Canada confuse me. They are both independent nations. They both are at the Olympics as their own country.
But they're in the Commonwealth.
But they still recognize the Queen of England. I'm not sure. It's confusing to me. I'm not sure how that works.
I was always led to believe that Midway was their downfall for their navy. Because of